Welcome to Plannercraft. I'm Natalie and I'm going to be taking you through our monthly USB for September. So on September's USB we've got a bumper birthday edition. So if you want to find out more about how to get a hold of that, I'm sure Ian will be popping the answers in the live chat. So pop any questions that you have as we go through the USB into. Okay. So now that we've got all our speed checks done. So for starters, when you go into your USB, at the top of your file listing you'll find there's a file with the number 1. It's a PDF, and that is the file that you should be reading first. Okay. So each folder that is on your USB is going to be in here in alphabetical order. I've put the 3D card first, and in this case you've got your base file, but you've also got some spooky tops to go with, and there's been some photographs of that we've been putting up on our social media. And on the USB you have that in FCM and SVG format, but for Scan and Cut we highly recommend that you use the FCM file, as that's all been ready set up to go. The next item is the birthday banner. So you can see there the 3 files that we have that build the banner up, and you can use we've got 2 little banner sections here that you can use to put sentiments on if you want to, and then we've put in some layering tips to help you actually build the design up. So you can see here that I've separated them out and then gone through about how welding the shapes together to give you your layers. So you can see here that you've got the triangle with the shadow as a H welded together. We've then got our next layer with the shadow of the H welded together. Next you will do your shadow layer, and finally your detail layer. Moving on to the next page, we have the candle insert, which is this file here. Now that you could cut out of vellum or other translucent material, and it's actually for popping it inside of your candle jar. And then you've got some vinyl sentiments that you can either put directly onto your vellum if you want to have it so that your candle jar is changeable. For instance, if you're doing a Christmas one, and you could include some alternative inserts, or if you wanted to put the vinyl directly onto the glass. Important instruction here: only use battery operated tea lights when you're using your candle jars for safety. Next we have our card borders folder. Now this one has been designed so that you can put it onto any size of card base. So it's literally just on the edge. Now you could cut it out of a complementary colour and just use some double-sided sticky tape to stick it to your card base. Or you can actually weld it to your card base to cut it all out of one shape. Now I've popped here a few different material choices that you could use, but you could also use vinyl if you wanted to apply it onto a card surface rather than actually having it cut out of the card. And you could also use some self-adhesive sheets, which is what we've done with this example here. So when we use our self-adhesive sheets, we can cut it in our machine, and then we can top it with glitter, with foil. If you've got heat resistance adhesive sheet, you can even top it off with embossing powder and then heat set it. Next we've got our character boxes. So we have a badger, we have a panda, a reindeer, an owl, or robin, depending on how you colour it. We have Santa, a snowman, and a unicorn. Oh, hi Leslie! Your voice in the background. And you've also got your base box shapes. Now your base box shapes are sized ready to go with your medium and small sizes of cut files, while your bigger dimensioned pieces are there to do a coordinating card. This month we've also included some ready-made card designs. So we have a, how can I put it, cheer up card that we've put together. So it kind of fits all those occasions where life's a bit too tough. And it has a mini card, which is the one you can see here. It has an envelope that will fit the mini card if you want to put something else on the front so it's not so obvious, or so that somebody could put it in a wallet or a purse if they just need that little reminder daily. You have a sentiment strip, which is cut and draw set up ready. And then you can use our card base, but we'll get more into card bases in a bit. Another one that we have here is a aperture card that actually has a sentiment cut into the aperture. And we have a sympathy card that builds up of 4 layers, which says memories and has a little tulip decal. Moving on again, we have our creator card, which is new for September, but it's something that we're going to be expanding on in October. And it's all about having some good basics to start building your own card designs, but also that help give you that little nudge on those days when you just don't know where to get started. So we have, first of all, some toppers up here, and the toppers are built up of, sorry, right, and you have toppers and they're built up of a sentiment and a shape, and any of the sentiments when you actually open the SVG files are sized to fit your shapes. So you can literally put one in and they're all interchangeable, so the diamond is actually bigger when you come to have a look at your actual cut file. And the idea being that you cut out the text so it pops through that topper, and then you can put a pattern paper underneath or some stamping and some blending. As you will see at the moment, I'm going through a stage of distress oxides on everything, so everything has a speckled effect, everything is blended, and I love to add a touch of sparkle to that too. Then we move on to our creator card wreath, which has a number of parts to it, which is why I've kind of pulled it out like this so you can see everything a bit better. So to start with, I would cut the stencil templates, and I've put from Mylar in the instructions here, but if you just want to experiment and just get your head around how it works, you could start off in card. Mylar has the benefit of being wipeable and it's a bit more resilient, so if you're doing a lot of cards in one go, Mylar is the way to go. And then we have 2 coordinating card bases and a 5x5 inch topper, which has a circle cut out in the middle that slots into our wreath. Now the circle is there for if you want to pop in a sentiment. So if you look down at the thanks down here, you can see where we've cut out the centre. If I can put my teeth back in. But I've only done that after I've done the stamping. So you would cut your 5-inch square first, do your stamping, and then go back through with your scan and cut to cut out the centre circle. You then have a coordinating envelope that fits the card base, and we also have a folding card insert, which is here, so you can see how that goes together. And there's also a stencil in the set which isn't shown, which again you can cut from Mylar, but it just helps you with masking the actual card insert here, rather than how I did it in the video with some masking tape. Just makes your life a little bit easier. And finally, for the wreath, the whole point of the wreath is that it's stamped, but for those that don't have stamps, I wanted to provide a way of having the same look but without having to invest necessarily in yet another tool. So what you can do with the wreath flowers is you can actually cut and layer them. So they're designed to be layered, or you can cut them from vinyl. But for the wreath, most often than not, you're going to be wanting to work with the layered versions. You can then size those to fit and place those around your wreath. Going on from there, we've got the Floral Fun. So these have got a few more bits and pieces that aren't necessarily going to fit with the card wreath pack. So for instance, our layered rose actually works really well when it's really big. You want to use this one to fill your 12 by 12 mat, especially if you're cutting it out. If you're going to be going smaller, you're going to want to draw it instead. And again, we have a strelitzia, we have leaves that you can foil and cut. The opportunities are endless. Now, I always try to include at least 1 to 2 fonts per USB, and this time round I've wanted to give you something that you could use in many ways as possible. So over this side we have a set of coordinating fonts, and the idea being that the top one is going to be cut from your patterned or coloured paper, and the bottom one is going to be cut from your white card. Now they're all converted to shapes ready, so you can weld them together into your title or your sentiment, depending. They are better if you use them at a reasonable size. You don't want to be trying to use them too small. Meanwhile, these ones over here are more about foiling. So we have a single line font, which is perfect for foiling because you can use your glue pen and just let it carry on its own. They're all individual shapes, so when you bring them into the mat, you're going to delete the ones that you don't want, duplicate any that you need 2 of, and arrange to suit you. Then we have our hand sketch designs. Now these feed into our mixed media illustrations. So if you want to find out more about those, there's a tutorial that is available for purchase, which is the first edition of mixed media illustrations for the Scan and Cut. And that is all about how we can use our draw functions, our cut functions, alongside things like stamps, embossing folders, foils, glitters, you name it. And then we have our pumpkin folder. Now our pumpkin folder has 2 main files. So we have a title that is My Little Pumpkin, and again you can layer that up, or you can just cut it out in one colour using the central layer. And we have a pumpkin, well, 2 pumpkins that layer up with 3 layers of card. Now your base piece, your solid piece, you're going to want to cut in green. The next piece is this one here, which is solid but with a little bit of the stem showing. You're going to want to do that in a sort of orangey colour. And finally you have an outline piece. Now in the example I've done that in chocolate, but you could do that in orange, as I've done on samples that are up online at the moment, and then blend in Distress Oxides over the top so that you can actually see the difference between the 2 layers. Now our shadow box set is something that we started in August, and in August we had a very generic pretty border panel that we could use. So this time round, obviously as we're heading towards Halloween, I wanted to give you something totally different. So we've gone for a comic spooky, which you can put on the front of your shadow box. So we have an outside frame that sticks in, and then we have our something, and it's all split up so you can see how the layers go together. And then I wanted to give you something a bit more fancy. So if you wanted to go a bit more upmarket Halloween, you could do. So at this size, what I recommend is either using vinyl, or you could use your glue pen and foil it onto the background. Now, you wouldn't necessarily have to do that onto white card. I think it would look absolutely stunning if you did it onto a nice purple card and then use some rose gold foil. And then all these other files form the basis of your shadow box, which basically makes a gift box set. Your stencils are to be cut from Mylar, and they're really detailed. One thing I would say is when you do cut them out and remove them off your mat, go careful that they don't rip, because there are so many cut out sections. But as soon as you get them off the mat, they're absolutely fine. It's just that initial getting them off. And then we have our sweet box, which has a little surprise in the middle if you want it to. So originally it was designed to hold 9 chocolates, but then I thought it'd be really nice to include something a little bit different for you. So it has an optional ring holder that you can place into the centre section. And as you can see from my example, it layers up on top as well. So you have 3 layers to choose from this month, and then we'll include some other ones in the future. So we've got Christmas coming up, so there'll be some Christmas ones and things like that. So we have Will You Haunt Me Forever, hence the little ring holder. We have our Halloween cat and our sugar skull to play with. And then we have our wreath designs, which are designed to be cut to fill your 12 by 12 mat. And I'd also recommend cutting 2 or 3 of each layer so that you get a good strong base to work onto. Usually when I'm doing a design that needs a lot of strength to it, I use 480 GSM card and then layer it together using Tombow Mono Aqua rather than using a chipboard. And then we have our bonus content, which is always something a bit random. And then we give you a bit of a preview for next month. Now, because it's our birthday edition, we included a few added extras. Just a few. So, one of the first things that we put on is our Autumn Flowers collection. And that includes 12 by 12 papers to print. It includes what we call pocket cards that are suitable for pocket scrapbooking in a whole range of sizes, and our ribbons and borders. Now all these files are on the USB in PDF, PNG and JPEG format, so you're bound to have something that will read one of those. And if I just quickly flick through, we have highly detailed pattern papers, some feature papers that you could use for covers and things, and we also have put in the coordinating solids as well, so that you can actually match your colours throughout your layouts rather than having to dig out something that approximately matches it. And then these are your pocket cards. So these are 2x2s, 4x4s, 3x4s, and again they're available in all the image formats. So I'll just quickly flick through some of these because otherwise we'll be here all night. There's 100 and something pages in this document, so that's how many files that you have. Loads. So as you can see, here you see some of the 3x4s and the 6x4s. and they're all designed to coordinate with all the embellishments. Now, hopefully, if I can scroll to them, there is one other collection on here that you really need to see. There we go. So, we've put the first of our Christmas collections onto this USB, and they're printable and cuttable, and I've also included some cut-only files as well that coordinate, so you don't have to always be printing things. So we have papers down here, we have pocket cards, we have individual layering Christmas trees, we have sentiments and strips. So all of these are available to cut on your machine once printed. So if you look very closely, and I'll zoom in a bit, you can see that we've got our outline for our cut line around all our embellishments. And I think that may be it. There you go. So if you have any questions on the files included, now's your opportunity to ask. So pop your questions into the chat, and I'm sure Ian will be asking me the questions. Yes, the pumpkins would make very good shaker cards. There's a few designs actually that I think would be really, really good. I mean, the ones that I'm on at the moment, the toppers, would also make great shaker cards because of having the aperture cut through for the text. Any other questions? Okay. If there's any questions about how things go together or what other things I had in mind for them when I designed them. So like for instance with the card borders, they actually layer up if you want to, so that you can have it as a solid background. No. Okay. Well, the September USB is available until the end of the month, and you can order that online at plannercraft.uk, or you can subscribe for future editions by going on our subscriptions page and signing up there. And then next month, which isn't that far away, we'll be bringing out yet another USB with a little bit of Halloween. There won't be much, just a little bit. So it's going to be very quick projects that you can make, and there'll also be a bit more child focused projects as well, so they're going to be ones that you can sit down and make with your kids. But there are going to be some Christmas designs with a bit of a dance theme going on.
The shadow box with lots of smiley faces.
What, how to put it together?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll go back over the shadow box. Okay, when you get your shadow box, if you open it up, you'll find that there are quite a few files involved in it. So, looking at the screen on here, we've got individual base pieces, and then I've very kindly put together one where it's all laid out on a 12 by 24 mat, so you can cut it all at once. Chances of you actually wanting to do that, pretty slim. The idea being that if I go through these little pieces up here, it's very hard to not point at the screen and think. We've got a frame that goes on top of our shadow box, which you'll only really want to cut if you're going to use like a pattern card to actually front the box. We have a two-sided piece, and that's for if you want to use the triangle version of the shadow box, which needs the triangle base and the triangle lid and one of our main shadow box pieces. Or you can create a four-sided box by cutting two of your shadow box pieces, your lid, and two of your side pieces. So these are the individual side pieces, and they slot into the holes that you can just see on your thumbnail here. Now, the whole thinking behind the triangle box is actually not to have it on its own. It's actually designed to have 6 cuts, and then they're going to basically come in together to form one big hexagon. So, so there's our triangle box. So the idea being that you would have 6 that would then go together, and you could tie a ribbon round or find some other way of binding them together. And then if I pop the lid off, you can see how it all goes together. So we have our tabs that go inside. Hopefully you can see. I have to wait for the delay now because there's a 30-second delay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So that wraps round, and I've just put some decorative tape down just to finish it off nicely. And same with the bottom. And the bottom actually slots inside and behind our shadow box section, which is why it doesn't have that extra piece. Whereas our lid has an extra section on the top that allows the shadow box to sit in. And when you're making your shadow box, you fold over your top and bottom sections first, and then that gives you the platform on which to wrap your side pieces around, and it's the side pieces that you're going to tape in. Now if you want to use one of the background inserts, you want to do that obviously before you stick your frame together. Any other questions? Wait for 30-second delay.
Oh, yeah. No, I heard you ask if there's anyone else the question, so I just had the 30-second delay. So.
That's the only thing with broadcasting live is you do have that 30 seconds of. Have they caught up with me yet? That's it. Okay. Well, next month we're hoping to not only have this document on the USB, but we're also hoping to have a magazine put together that you can actually purchase as well, that will go through step by step with each project. But we'll see how it goes from here. So hopefully see you, I think we're on YouTube tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? YouTube? Yeah, and then Thursday on Twitch. So take care, and if you do have any questions, don't forget that you can always message us at Facebook. So you just search for Plannercraft, or you can message us via our website, which has a lovely live chat function, which does actually come direct to me. Okay, take care and see you soon.